شارلي شو مبين جيت لهون حطوا الهاب.
We're live, guys. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening. Happy Saturday, everyone. Yes, we've made it online on time,
Yes.
I hope. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Miss Haya, for joining us. By the way, Haya is my aunt, and I'm so proud to have her in my life this long time. And well, we don't want to make long introduction. I will invite Haya to introduce herself and start directly in that topic. I know it's a weekend, you want to enjoy your free Saturday, so we're not gonna take you for a long time here. Please, Ms. Haya.
Very good. First of all, thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity. Truly, it's very honoring to be with you and to share some information, and I hope people find it helpful. So my name is Haya, and I started learning about Feng Shui about 25 years ago. I had strong inclination for healthy living. And I found Feng Shui to suit this inner need that I had. So I studied Feng Shui and I took my certification, and I had it as a business. And just recently, about 10-15 years ago, I took my real estate license, and I find it good combination, helping people buy in houses and create living arrangement to suit their highest goals in life. And it's working out great.
I like to just say about my opinion. I'm a person who used to think real estate is something like rigid and boring, but really the way you do it, I'm so impressed. Like I even thought of starting a real estate business after how you tackled this business and the energy you have put in it and the dimension, because yes, living in like our houses are our temples. And I like the way, like when you follow her account, you know what I'm talking about, how much Feng Shui tips she mentions every month about, you know, the house. And when, you know, like when you take the picture of a new house, a new listing, I feel like, oh, those who are going to buy the house are so lucky to to have chosen this house, because really the way you're doing it is so creative, and it shows a lot of knowledge behind, you know, the action. So
thank you. Of course, as you said, homes are the most important to us, and it's at home where we rejuvenate, recharge, and get all the energy we need. And when people move from one house to another, it's a very critical time, sensitive time of their life, because we're usually attracted to homes that serve our needs at that specific time of our life. So there's lots of science behind it, with the direction of the house, the size of the lot, the number of the house. So all these things we take into consideration. And what I find most fun for me is sharing with my friends and clients when they enter the house how to do space clearing to get rid of the old energy and make it a fresh, clean slate for them to install their new goals and hopes and dreams. So this is an important thing. And I share it with many of my clients. Not everyone is inclined to do it, but I find that lots of people nowadays are have the openness to apply it into their homes and lives.
yeah, actually, even people, like before I believed in this Feng Shui, before even I got introduced to this, I've always noticed that there are some places where I go and I feel good, and some places where I enter, I was very like at very early age, I go to a place and suddenly I don't feel comfortable staying in it, but I couldn't at that point in time spot what's annoying me or what's causing this? And then this is how I started, investigating and checking why I feel this feeling. And sometimes you go around a place and you feel you don't want to leave, or a room you want to really stay, and it shifts your mood to a different dimension. So this is really, I think every single person goes into these feelings, because we are normal being, and at that age I had no clue about energy and feng shui or how to do it, but I could sense it. And I'm sure people you are watching us, I are resonating with this point, because sometimes we go to a shop or even and we feel, wow, I will like the energy, and this is where we can really buy and spend long time. So yes, energy affects us some without noticing it, because it's like just a sensation. And this is why the feng shui, when I read about it, it was like, again, maybe 20 years. Remember, I texted you. I was still in Beirut.
Long way back. I remember.
I was thinking of taking some courses in an institute in Paris, and that's it.
We've all sensed it and felt it, and we have the saying that goes, "The air was so thick you can cut it with a knife."
Oh yeah.
So that is very common thing we say about something we feel so strongly when we enter a new space. It's something you cannot see, but you can feel. And if this energy is not cleansed, it will accumulate with time. It will get absorbed into furniture, into the walls, the painting, and everything else around the house. And people who live there, with time, day after day, they live with it. They get so accustomed to it. They don't know any better. But when someone visits, they can sense it immediately. I know many times when I take my buyers to go view houses, many homes, we like to stay there and chat, and other houses, honestly, we can't continue viewing the rest of the house. So going back to your point, absolutely, homes are very important, and there are ways using feng shui to make sure that the energy is always alive and supportive to us. And with feng shui, we have what we call a bagua, which is kind of a floor plan. It has 9 areas that covers 9 aspects of our life. It covers career and work, helpful people in our life, children and creativity, relationships, future and advancement, prosperity, family, spirituality, and the most important is health. So a feng shui practitioner using this mandala, this bagua, this diagram, we can impose it on the house in general, or the lot in general, or even we can impose it on a single room of every house, and we can tackle a certain aspect of our life that is associated with certain corners or areas in the space. So you can see that it's a broad science, and it's quite effective, especially when it's done with full mind and focus.
Yeah, it is. It's very deep and very complex, because maybe next time we can show the bagua, because I still remember I have a lot of books about feng shui, but like every time I look at the bagua and see the work that I have to do to start implementing it, I feel like it's too much. Maybe better to talk to a feng shui consultant, because it's there is a science behind it, and some engineering, because you have to know the directions and everything, but
absolutely,
and deeply can affect the energy of any room and the house. So now you're gonna talk to us a little bit about some practices. So we're gonna leave you guys with some practice you can implement it immediately after. We're not gonna make it complicated this time, so not to scare you. I'm gonna keep it simple with simple tips and practices. You can do it immediately and maybe a next interview, because we're intending to do this like a series, because Feng Shui is a very complex science and we cannot impossible to cover it in a very short interview. So we discussed, me and Maya, about the best way to just give you some information and substantive knowledge is to do it into like maybe monthly episodes where we cover this one will be an introductory one, but later on we will be more focused on themes and topics which can help you really get better understanding about it. So now we're gonna talk about, like, I leave you with Haya. She prepared something yummy for you.
Very good, very good. So I thought today to share with you 5 tips on how to uplift the energy in your house. So the first one, and they go in order, but not necessarily one is better than the other. So the first one that is quite important is the front door. So the front door is what we call where the chi is, the mouth of the chi, where the energy comes to your house. And it's very important to go there and check what kind of message you're giving to yourself every time you enter your house or you leave your house. So we want to make sure there's no broken stuff, it's not congested, not a lot of shoes and boots blocking your way. Just make it more organized. And in this area, I love to see a representation of water. It could be a water fountain, but if the space doesn't permit, I have here in my house a nice picture of the sea. And a good point to keep in mind, when you have a picture of water, you want to make sure that the flow of water is coming to the house and not pointing outside. So it took me a good time to find a good picture where the wave is moving forward into the house. So that's a good point to keep in mind if you're planning to buy an art piece representing waterfall or sea or anything. The second thing that comes to mind is the furniture placement. And this is something, a big deal, because the energy, when it comes to the house, it has to maneuver around every single item or object you put in front of it. And if it happens that you have a sofa, a table, a dresser, or something that block the flow of energy, we find that with time, this fresh energy stagnates and becomes kind of negative energy. And keep in mind, if that particular event is happening, for example, in the relationship area of the house or in the career area of the house, that has a rippling effect to one of the 9 aspects of our life that we spoke about earlier. So we have to make sure that the furniture is placed in a proper way and not blocking the view. We want to make sure that when you sit, you don't sit with your back to the door. In fact, you sit in a position where you're able to have access to view the whole room, the whole space, and people coming in and out. I understand that there isn't a perfect situation every time, and sometimes we're working with restricted space. So there are some cures, what we call in Feng Shui, or enhancement that can adjust such situation. One of them, for example, a mirror is very simple and easy, where you can put it in a perfect or a certain place that can reflect what's happening at the back and make people at ease. But furniture placement is a big one in Feng Shui, and we always want to make sure that we have a continuous healthy flow of energy throughout the house. The third thing that we talk about is space clearing. And this is a big thing on my list, and I know you too, Sarah. I think it's a big one. Usually when I wake up every morning, the first thing I do after when I come down to the main floor is put my metti kettle on the stove, and right away I burn sage or incense. That's my normal morning routine every day. So I have here with me a few things I want to show people where they can use. Sage, I have tons of it in the garden, and even in winter, the plant is there. So every morning I usually have a small clip of sage, and I put it on the stove, and quite nice. It just starts the day on good foot, and it cleanses the energy and bring good feeling. You can always as well buy incense. They can be a little bit expensive, but if you have access to them, it's good. I think the sage in my garden is free and does a good job as well, so I use that. Another thing that I use often in the house is sea salt. So especially after maybe a sickness in the house, or a job interview, or you feel any complication. So I usually have a small dish of sea salt, and I have them in a certain areas in the house. They don't have to be in a prominent space, under the desk or under the sofa. And the sea salt has this powerful ability to attract or collect negative, icky energy in it. So it absorbs that kind of energy. And usually every week, we're going to have, whenever I feel the call for it, I take the old sea salt and I pour it in the toilet, for example. I close the toilet and I flush it. And I always renew fresh sea salt. So that's a good and affordable way to carry on. Another thing that, of course, we can use is the steamer. I put a few drops of oil essence in it, and I keep it on all the time. So these are small, affordable ways to clean the space. As we mentioned earlier, the energy get affected positively or negatively without us seeing it. It's not something tangible. So we have to always keep maintenance, just like we maintain our body with, hygiene and all that. We maintain the house in such a way. Another good thing to keep in mind is the use of colors. And I have to confess, I sometimes go out of mind abusing this aspect of Feng Shui, because I love it. And what I do often is I like to paint. It could be the front door. It could be one wall in a room. It doesn't have to be a full room. So whatever energy I am craving, I use it in the house. And as we know, each color uh, represent and emanate certain energy. For example, the green represent growth. Yellow represent confidence. Blue, good communication. Red and orange, good energy. And they usually, we see them often in dining rooms and family rooms. And I have to tell you a small secret. I usually do my painting job when my husband is away, because he will make big fuss. He will make big fuss about it. He doesn't like changes. So I wait for a day that he's out or he's working, and I prepared myself and I do what I need to do. And when he comes home, there's big shock and he wants to say something about it. But then he
It's
likes
done already.
it's done already and he likes it. So try it, use it. Again, it's fun, and you will see the tremendous shift of energy when applying colors in the house. One thing I have to caution, as we mentioned earlier, that every space or corner in the house represents certain aspect of our life. And these areas in the house, each one is associated with certain element and color. So for example, if we're talking about the career area and you decide to paint the wall red, there you're going to have a huge conflict, because the career area resonates with the color blue, black, gray, white. But if you put red, which is fire, that is a conflict. So that's why understanding Feng Shui and knowing how it works and understanding the elements and working with them is the best way to achieve the best result.
True.
Now, the last number, and I kept it to the last. No, I think I have two more.
Can I interrupt one thing about the
Yeah.
colors? Because I strongly agree with you and believe, like, 'cause and I'm sure many are resonating with this. We always feel we want to change a color. Sometimes we change even the color of our clothes, how we
Yeah.
shift from a color series to another. But what I do usually, because I'm still renting houses, I haven't settled in one house. I did it once in one house. I used to paint the wall of the garden, and it's a beauty. It ended up to be a piece of art. Honestly, people
Nice.
used to come and watch it. But now, because I cannot keep painting walls,
Yeah.
I do, which is very cost effective. But again, my husband keeps like, Sarah, are you serious? Go buy something else. I keep buying cushions. So I change the color of the living room, the color set, by changing the cushions and the accessories, and it transforms the room. The couches are always almost the same, but when you introduce a new color scheme of or shapes of cushions,
Very
it's
true.
like you painted a wall. This is how I'm getting it, because I cannot paint walls. We don't want every
Yes.
time we leave a house to read
Yes.
everything. So this is what I do. I don't know if that's, but I feel that change
For
and
sure.
it affects our mood in a different way. Yeah.
For sure. And another thing that I love so much is duvet covers.
Oh yeah.
So if you open my linen closet, you will find more duvet covers than towels. I collect them, and I have many, many, many different colors and styles, design, and patterns. And I use them specifically for specific reasons. Now, in the bedrooms, of course, our kids still live with us. We have three, two boys and one girl. The oldest is 36, and our daughter is 28. So they have their own set of mind and rules and regulation. Again, I wait till they're not home, and I sneak into their bedroom and I change the duvet cover into the color that I think might be supportive to them at this stage of their career, relationship, anything like that. So Absolutely. We don't have to paint walls. We can use cushions, duvet covers, towels. For example, our bathroom falls in an area where I need to have lots of green, but we have the water element there. So what I use, all the accessories and the floor mat and the bath curtain, all these, I make sure they have a pattern or the color green in them. So you're absolutely right. Using colors in unlimited ways will help us achieve great result.
Yeah.
So the last thing to cover is using a therapeutic oil essence. I'm a big fan of those as well. I have one box always in the bedroom level and one box on main floor. And very often after I clean the bed or fix the bed in the morning, sometimes I reach to one bottle. I don't even choose. I just pick one and I sprinkle a few drops on the bed that's already made. And it just gives a great ambiance. And often I surprise my kids. I sprinkle some, and when they enter the room, I'm always behind them, sneaking to see them back, and I could see, oh, mom did it again. Okay, but I like it, you know. So they.
A sense or depends. Do you use any specific ones, or they have any particular way of choosing?
They usually come in a set of 6 or 12.
Yeah.
The ones I have here is lemongrass, one of my favorite, eucalyptus, peppermint, a sweet orange. Lavender is quite popular.
Yeah.
So
too relaxing. I think it should be in the bedroom.
in the bedroom, yes. And even sometimes when we're having guests over, and I pick one and I sprinkle some at the front door, for example, or at the beginning of the walkway, just to give people a sense of welcoming and to start good experience from the get-go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course, the smell is like every time, like it's like listening to a new song or a favorite song. So every time you hear this song, it takes you to the nice memory. So if you do the same thing with the smell, it's again, it opens nice areas in our spirit, and we get in touch to relaxing and beautiful energy.
Yes, and that's often the case with many of us when we visit ashrams or mosques or churches, and because they do burn lots of incense there, automatically the second we enter, we let go and we're able to be present and absorb the message fully and this and that. So very powerful tools or element that under our disposal that we can use and make life prosperous and happy, healthy.
Sure. And guys, anything can change our mind. Like sometimes we wake up not feeling well, but the minute we go walk in the sun, we transform. Like we feel like, so it shows that sometimes most of our problems are not like a problem. So it's how we perceive it. So if we enhance this through wearing a nice color or putting around the house some nice smells and like nice music, nice, like applying those practices can really make like big huge change in our lives. And as Haya said, it's not one time practice. It has to be like every day, because we cannot do it once. We cook every day, right? We eat every day. This is the same thing. So we cannot say yesterday we ate, like my 3-year-old son, when I tell him time to eat, he's like, I ate yesterday. No, we cannot say that. We have to do this on a daily basis to stay into a constant state of mind. Otherwise, we sink in our thoughts, and we have so many the negative external factors also that can get into us, which are not us. Okay, so sometimes we blame ourselves, and I used to be like this. What's wrong with me? Why I don't feel well? That always going through this self blame. And then now, when I could differentiate what comes from outside and what is inside, so I can easily change it, like, switch it. It's like a button, but we should keep fine tuning this button. We cannot do it once and leave it, like this is a point I always like to remind myself about it. Like, as Haya said, me too, in the morning when I burn the sage. Sometimes I burn sage, sometimes I cannot without doing this. I need to smell this, this feeling. It gives, like, after long hours of sleep, it gives you like this. You start the day with a nice mood, spirit. When I burn sage, for example, it brings me a lot. The forest. My childhood, when we used to go and run and play in the forest and the village in Aramu. So it makes you feel something, and it's a beautiful memory. So this is all what we need. Our body, our mind does not differentiate between reality and the dreams. They are the same for the mind. The mind does not see anything outside of the thought. So whatever you think is reality for your mind. Okay, so easy practices, and you can start applying it, and you can experience this by yourself. Well, yeah.
And keep in mind, like, when we work on our space, when we work on ourselves, it has a huge impact on the neighborhood, on the people we meet, because we carry this kind of energy. When we go out and see others, I'm sure you've experienced, I hope not often, when you meet someone and they start talking, you just want an excuse to leave, because the energy, you find it a bit bombarding or not conducive to a positive atmosphere. So when we make sure that our homes are in good working order, that is definitely reflecting on the occupants of the house, in their moods and their energy. And again, we take it outside and we share it with others. So you might think at the beginning it's a lot of things to keep track of, lots of things to do. But believe me, when you start doing them, you'll experience joy. And once you feel that great positive energy building up, you can't wait to do them again, to share them with others. And they become routine. And of course, we all know how much we love to do things that makes us feel good. So go ahead, indulge, pamper yourself and your senses, and take care of your home, inside and out.
Somebody, Lena, is asking us, they want to know a little bit more about the mirrors and where to place them, and if they can place the mirrors at the entrance area. So
yes, so in Feng Shui, some Feng Shui masters assigned a nickname to mirrors. They called them the aspirin of Feng Shui. So because they do have a quick magic, in a way, not magic, but a quick change of energy around the house. Mirrors are very important in the house, and sometimes, often when I've done Feng Shui consultation to clients. And when I enter the house and I don't see mirrors in the house, that gives already a clue to what's the situation or what's going on. So going back to how to use mirrors, I have myself a nice huge mirror in the dining room reflecting the dining room table. And that's always nice to reflect something prosperous. It could be, you know, when you have food at the table, it's great. To have a mirror at the front door, you have to be very careful, because if the mirror is reflecting the staircase representing energy always going up and down, moving, nothing stable. So you want to make sure that it doesn't reflect stairs. It doesn't reflect this unstable energy. I don't have enough space in my house at the front, in my foyer, to have a mirror, but I used one outside on our patio. So you can have a mirror, make sure it reflects something positive, and it doesn't reflect the stairs, and to be on a level where it doesn't cut you off your head or your chest or any area of your body, just a good height. That's important.
Good, you said that. I have one mirror, but I only can see myself from here up. So I should.
That's good. Here up is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it cuts half of the head or something. So we want to make sure that the level is good, and what it reflects. Often we use mirrors when we have a small area and not a lot of windows. The mirror reflects light, it bounces lights, and the house looks a bit spacious and airy, roomy.
Yeah, I love mirrors. And you know, like we have this misunderstanding, because I used to love mirrors and have mirrors around the house, and my friends in a sarcastic way used to say, oh, so like kind of narcissistic, because you know, like people who have mirrors around, like they want to see themselves. Believe it or not, I rarely look at a mirror. Like I don't look at the mirror.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I feel, as you said, that it's reflecting something nice. So
Yes.
this misunderstanding about mirror, and I had to really think about it. They confused me some, like I'm telling you stories like that age for like 10, 15 years ago when I first had my first house. And it's like, why you have all the mirrors, are a lot of mirrors in the house? It's not you want to see yourself all the time, you know, like this kind of. I mentioned this because, you know, sometimes we have some beliefs that can really, like, we got it from people and without knowledge of what's the importance of something. And I used to feel good about it, but they could succeed to sometimes confuse me about maybe is there something about this. So please guys, trust your energy, how you feel about the thing in that, like in the house, or about yourself. This is the best balance, and this is the end result is here. So if you feel comfortable about it, no matter who said what, you know, it's your say. You know, this is very important. I like also to because I'm talking from my own experience, and I think we are like, we share a lot of similar emotions, and you know, we're not very different. Same but different.
And another thing to keep in mind, and to be gentle with ourselves, is sometimes we have things in the house, be it a placement of furniture or items around the house, or a conflict in Feng Shui in the design. Sometimes we do have them on a daily basis, and we overlook it. We overlook it for days and weeks and months. But I truly believe that this aggravation that this conflict is bringing to the person, it could be very much needed. It's kind of a push, till we finally say, okay, I've had it. I need a change. So sometimes uh, a wrong feng shui, not on a consistent basis, but not perfect feng shui, serve a need as well. Sometimes people, they have 2, 3 mirrors in a room, and other people don't feel comfortable being surrounded with as many mirrors. But that environment is suitable for for a certain personality. And as you find it in your own life, sometimes you have 2, 3 mirrors in one room, and then one spring or one summer, you decide to change your decor and you relocate few pieces somewhere else. So we always have to trust and honor this inner fire or urge or energy and respect it. I know in my own life, in my own home, I don't have a perfect feng shui. In fact, very often I enter a room, and recently I did that with my daughter's bedroom. I entered the bedroom, and right away it was clear to me that the laundry basket, it was placed in a situation that I didn't like it today. But I've been in her room countless times. But for some reason, today was the day that I need to shift that energy. I don't know why. I just go with the flow and I say, oh, okay, I have to adjust this today. Let's do it. So always have grace, give yourself a grace and time, and accept things as they present themselves to you. And believe me, when we're ready to make a fundamental change, you won't even be able to sit on your sofa for 2 minutes. You feel the urge. You feel the urge that I have to do it now.
Absolutely, yeah, it's true. This is what I call the benevolent universe. Even if when we don't want to do it, there is a time we have no choice. We do it. Like,
absolutely.
I just before we close, I like you to highlight the importance, because I've seen it in many houses. The cluttering under the bed, or things under the bed, or under a sofa, like these things. Yes. I know how important it is, and it's good if you just draw the attention.
Absolutely, this is very important point. And we find often these days, especially in children bedrooms, they have the bed with drawers underneath the bed just to save space. I'm a big, not a fan of this at all. And even if I have to sacrifice a use of space, I always make sure that the space underneath the bed is empty. Absolutely. For me, it's a must. And especially because the only time when we can truly benefit of good health and recharging is when we're sleeping. So if you want to not have the perfect arrangement somewhere else in the house, but I urge you to honor the bedroom and make sure that the bed, if it's possible, to have it kind of not sticking to the wall, so the energy can move freely around the bed. I have one of the bedrooms, the bed close to the wall because the bedroom is not big. Okay, that's fine. But make sure that underneath there's no clutter, especially with teenagers, socks, food, cups and plates and all sorts of things. So we're there to help our kids get the best energy and put their best foot forward and take care of this aspect for them, for us all. So bedroom is very important in feng shui. bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen. They're quite essential, their placement and what's going on there, the energy that uh, we we put there.
Yeah, and as I told you, I recently learned. See, we always, if how much we learn, we always don't know something.
Yes, of
I
course.
learned about the importance of the oven, and I shared with Haya like on the phone once that I really feel like I want to turn the oven most of the time. I don't know why I feel the call in the kitchen to use the oven. So I bake a lot. No
Yes.
matter how tired I am, you see me every almost day go and use the oven. And by chance, I was reading something and I learned how important the oven is in the feng shui, like in the kitchen. So this is also a point before we close. Guys, if you have questions, please type them in the comments so I can ask. We can answer them before we go. We need we have to close like in few minutes, but I want you to, because I know you're enjoying it. Thank you so much. So put the question in the comment, and we'll close maybe with this point about the oven, because I'm sure everyone has oven at home, and we don't know how can it affect our life.
In fact, one of the Chinese practice, or for Chinese people, they're very keen, as you said, on the stove. And even sometimes, if they're not cooking that specific day, they make sure to turn the oven on, the stove on. And another thing I noticed with them, that they don't only use one circle, one area of the oven. They make sure that usually we have four areas on the stove. They make sure to rotate and use them all. And they consider the kitchen and oven is where the nourishment, the food. And when we have a healthy body, we have healthy mind. So don't underestimate the kitchen and the stove, and use it wisely, especially during this time of quarantine. I find myself as well quite often 2-3 hours a day in the kitchen, sometimes preparing food, and it's quite enjoyable.
Well, thank you so much. I think we're done. Can you tell us a little bit for next episode? Because guys, we decided to do this on every like the beginning of the month, to just leave you, so you can start the new month with the new tips, and you have enough time to implement what we give you, because it's not an easy. We are all aware of that. So we will be scheduling another episode, another interview next month, and we will inform you about the topic by then. And I want to thank you, and I want to leave the floor to close with you, Haya. And from my side, thank you so much for everyone, and I wish you all happy, relaxing, beautiful weekend.
Thank you again for having me, for creating this opportunity for me and everyone. I appreciate that. And again, if any have any question, or they would like us to cover a certain concern, let us know, and we will tackle it and do the best we can to answer the question. Thank you for taking the time to be with us and listening to us. And I look forward to see everyone again virtually for now.
Okay, guys, thank you. And I will give Haya lives in Toronto. She's in Canada. I don't know if we mentioned this somewhere. And I will give you. I will mention in the comment her contacts and her website address. So also, if you want to reach, to her and follow her accounts and get the
Great
energy. Thank you so much. Lovely weekend. Thank you, Haya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.